What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another special request, and we're back with a Gwen Stefani tune, and not a No Doubt track. Indeed, I believe Mikey was saying, and big shout out to Mikey, great friend of the channel, has shared a number of things, and ultimately has been very informative in both the Ace of Base and the Garbage Deep Dives, so big shout out to you. But he requested a track from her debut solo album, 2004, is it Love.Angel.Music.Baby, I believe? And yeah, he pointed out this is the era when she was using the Harajuku dancers. Ultimately, I know very little. I remember them being in like promotional pictures and so on. I know there's sort of like a debate about her, entourage and the aesthetic of that. Ultimately, again, I focus on the music here. Ultimately, as someone who is I watch a lot of J-drama, so I'm a bit conversant in certain like Japanese cultural trends and aesthetics, though fair to say like street culture and all its different variations, I know there's like all these different like subculture aesthetics and so on. That's not any area of my particular expertise. So either way, I do believe a number of the dancers were Japanese American, maybe even all 5 of them. Regardless, Mikey provided some information in addition to providing this track, and in the moment I'm forgetting what the track is called. The title is What You Waiting For. So obviously there's a bit of like colloquial speech to it, there's a bit of a, not pressure, but ultimately a question as to the lack of action on the part of the person being spoken to, that they are hesitating or dithering while an opportunity or a possibility presents itself. So yeah, I wonder, the context of such a phrase. I know a few No Doubt tunes. I had their debut album when I was, what year was that? That's got to be like 93, 94. I feel like that's got to be in the earlier half of the 90s. Because it was like around the time when I was listening to some other punk bands, and because there was more of a pop punk sound to No Doubt, I ended up not really following them all that much, even though I did like Tragic Kingdom, that's the name of it, right? I don't have the disc anymore, but either way, I did enjoy the album, but I never ended up becoming a big fan. So when they had big hits with like Don't Speak, which I remember seeing the video for and like, oh, this is a cool tune, this is very different from what I remember from them. I had not been following them closely. So by the time you get to 04, I know very little about anything No Doubt or Gwen in terms of the musical output, but I do have a small and brief history of listening to the very earliest Gwen stuff, although fair to say, I have no knowledge of, perhaps they put out, or she was involved in bands prior to that. Whatever. Long story short, we're going to listen to a tune from her solo album, Love.Angel.Music.Baby, and the track is called What You Want. So I'm curious to hear, what the suggestion is, or why there's an implication that someone has been standing on ceremony instead of acting. Let's hear it. This is Gwen Stefani. The tune is What You Waiting For, and it's from her 2004 solo album, which I believe is her debut solo album, Love.Angel.Music.Baby.
What an amazing time, what a family. How did the years go by? Now it's only me.
I like that buzzing electricity. Oh, I heard this. I recognize that. I heard this somewhere. I like the tempo, it's fast. Electricity. I love the melody of that line. The lyrics are funny. That was not the last line of the song. I can't believe it. Okay, yeah, lyrics really intriguing me here, because at first I was like, is this sort of a message to herself that, like, you know, you can create a new world with new fans and you can, you know, sort of set out in your own way? And then it's like some of the lines like, look, you got your multi-million dollar contract and, you know, super hot female star, and it's like, oh, like it feels like there's a sarcasm, a sort of biting irony to this, and that it could be, you know, what people say toward a star that's perhaps naive. And again, I've just gone through a couple tracks that I think are at least running in a similar direction of the idea that, like, okay, you made it, now what? Like, you know, does that lead to you losing your creativity, or, you know, do you, does the authenticity of the art you're making suddenly, you know, become more complicated because, you know, now it's about, you know, mass distribution and production and so on? But then I thought, like, it might be like an actual critique of someone, but then I thought, like, maybe it's more that's what people are telling her, but they're not understanding, like, her situation. Either way, like, there's lines in here where it definitely feels sharper than I thought when it was beginning to unfold. So whether it's to her, whether it's other people, the way they talk to her, whether it's a theoretical character, and it's a, you know, the idea that when someone hits this point, you know, depending on what they're thinking and who they're listening to, it could be very different. So massively intrigued by the lyrics, even if I'm not sure what it's about, and I feel like there could be a number of different possibilities going in pretty separate directions. But again, I love that bristling, buzzing electricity to the, like, straight up dance sections. I've heard that somewhere, maybe not repeatedly, not a number of times, but that the way she comes into the verses with that sort of high, then, like, arcing down kind of melodic vocal, that part's definitely familiar. There was a section at the end where I was thinking, okay, well, whatever I've heard of this tune, I haven't heard this part. So obviously it was a track I heard in passing, you know, maybe it was in a TV show, a commercial, something, or maybe just again on the radio as I, like, you know, walked by and didn't sit down and listen to a song. But yeah, definitely suggests that it was in, you know, the pop culture, and that, it was getting playtime somewhere in my past. But yeah, I do enjoy that. I think that's cool, and I like the sauce that I suddenly realized was happening in the narrative or the conceptual theme. So looking forward to hearing people comment. Again, I know, like, just based on what I've read, like, online after, again, Mikey provided a lot of cool info, and I was, like, just curious to read a little bit more, and it seems like, you know, there's a lot of back and forth. Is it, like, you know, is she, like, appropriating, like, cultural motifs and so on within her music? And I feel like I read some interview where she was saying, like, no, like, I do this out of love because I'm just very interested in the culture myself and so on. So I get there'll be different opinions on that. But as I said, I focus on the music here, and I really did enjoy the dancing quality to the electronic sounding sections. I enjoyed her vocal performance, and I think there was, like, again, some cheek in, like, the backing vocals. There was, like, a spoken backing vocal in a couple parts. There was a, like, I don't know, sensualized, if not sexualized, sort of, like, vocalizations that were, like, in the backing texture of the track, so that it feels like there was a lot going on here. So curious to hear what Mikey and others have to say. Do let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.